The Zwift ride is undoubtedly one of the best things I've bought for health and fitness and keeping the weight off. But you can upgrade it if you want to. Option 1 is to use these. These are 3D printed tennis ball attachments that are designed to give you more comfort when attached to the Wahoo Kickr Core. And if you've got the Zwift ride, you can even order an additional one which goes on the front leg. These retail for around £100 for the complete set, usually including the tennis balls. So a relatively affordable upgrade if they work, of course. The other option is one of these, a rocker plate. This one's made by a company called OmniRocker, but if you want one of these, it'll cost you around about £500, depending on which model you decide to go for. So the question is it worth doing either option at all? And if it is it worth spending 5 times as much on a rocker plate compared to the tennis ball hack? Let's find out. Let's take it for a quick spin with no tennis balls and no rocker plate. It's been ages since I've ridden it like this, so this will be interesting. So there's a little bit of movement, even at these fairly low wattages, just by nature that, you know, it will move from side to side ever so slightly anyway, of course. And as you can see, I've got this on a mat. But let's just put a bit of power down. Okay, if you're thinking, why didn't he put his kit on? You might have a point, but I'm only going to do these short demonstrations now just to really show you what the movement looks like, and then I'll talk a bit more in depth about my experiences having tried all 3 setups for quite a period of time over the last 15 months. So next we'll put these tennis ball attachments on. They're relatively easy to fit, essentially moulded to go over the rubber stoppers that are on the Wahoo Kickr Core already. So we'll pop those on and we'll do another quick ride, and I can regret not getting changed again, and then we'll see how we go. Tennis balls on, let's see what these look like. So at this pace you can feel a slight difference. It moves a little bit more than without the tennis balls on. But let's up the power. And then let's see. Okay. So before we put the rocker plate back on, let's have a quick look at it, shall we? This is built by a company in the UK called OmniRocker, and this is the front part, which you can see goes underneath the leg on the Zwift ride, so it's bespoke for the Zwift ride, and it's separate to the rest of the rocker plate. So it's quite a unique design, and you can see it's on 2 rubber mounts at the front, and that allows us front of the Zwift ride to move from side to side, as you can see. So that's really easy to fit. You basically just put the front leg into this holder here, and that's that bit done. The rear part that goes underneath the Wahoo Kickr Core is this bit. So you can see that it's basically got these 2 clips, which I believe Martin has patented because they are particularly easy to fit the Wahoo Kickr Core on. I've had no movement whatsoever since I've been using it, which is well over 1,000 kilometers. And you can see the way that it works is you've got these 2 inflatable balls that sit between the 2 plates. And let me just talk about the plates for a second, which are mounted again on these rubber mounts in between. You can see there's 3 of them from the front to the back, and it's just beautifully made. It's all, you know, very nice wood. It's been oiled. It's got this really nice textured top on it. Obviously we've got the OmniRocker branding at the front, and then some nice little touches. You can see here that there is a spirit level, so that you know that you can get it level. In my garden room, that is a challenge because it basically goes every which way on a different level, but there we go. And then these you can just inflate with the amount of air that you need in them. So this is basically, at the moment, slightly more inflated on this side than it is on that side, which is virtually empty, because I needed a bit more on this side to get it level. And that's the reason why, at the moment, you can see, if I do that, that it's actually leaning to one side. So you can see they do have, you know, quite an impact, because there's really not very much air in that left-hand ball at all. So we'll get it put back on, and then we'll do another quick mini test, and once again I can regret my clothing choices. Okay, so we've got it all on. You can see there's lots of these different fitting points, so of course you can put different trainers on it. And finally we'll pop this under the front. Okay, so all I need to do now is level it up, and then we'll be ready to give it a try. The first thing, which just makes it completely different to start with, is you can see I can really move the bike around underneath me. So, you know, in much the same way as when you're cycling outdoors in real life, balance comes into it, and of course your core comes into it to keep the bike sort of level. Otherwise, I mean, much the same way as you would outdoors. I mean, you don't fall off this one, but you would if you went too far over on a normal bike when you're cycling outdoors. So the first thing is you have to engage your core a bit more than you normally would do. So and don't overthink it. So I've got basically zero air in these, but when I first started, I had them pumped up a bit more, just until I got used to it, because I wasn't used to this kind of movement on my indoor bike. So you can see we're moving through the Zwift world. We'll go up the gears again, and you can see that, I'm sure you can see that there's a lot more movement going on. So what I've found with this already, because there's more movement, I get less sore. So let's just do that quick test again. And there you go. You tilt the bike against your feet, basically. So if I just go up a few gears, so I've got some resistance. That foot goes down, you move your bike across. And if you watch something like the Tour de France, you'll see when they're putting the power down, this is exactly what they're doing. Sort of counter-levering and using all of the leverage in their own body to get the power down. Let's talk about the different setups. We've got the Zwift ride on its own. If you're interested in buying one of these Zwift rides, by the way, there's an affiliate link in the description below, which means you can save some money and I get a small commission that supports the channel. On its own, there is some movement, and I think you saw that in the video, but not very much. And what I found to start with was, when I first started riding it indoors, which is quite a hot and sweaty place to ride, I was getting sort of saddle sores really, and I looked for a solution to try and mitigate that, and that's when I found the tennis balls. You can see in the very little non-scientific test that we did before that they give you more movement. The difference between that and the rocker plate is really whereabouts your centre of gravity is. So let's put those two videos up side by side and have a look at the differences between them. I just want to talk briefly about OmniRocker for a second. Obviously there's lots of rocker plates out there. OmniRocker only supply in the UK, so if you are viewing this video from abroad, you would find a similar product from another manufacturer and it would give you a similar outcome. Not all rocker plates are equal, and that you can tell by the different prices that you pay for them. And OmniRocker is a premium product. In fact, it's not just me that says so. I think if you go and have a look at Ryan Condon's channel, he's tried one of these as well. As you saw before, it's simple to set up, it's simple to use, it's very robust, and I've been very happy with it. And just to give you a little bit of background, I wasn't looking to change my tennis ball setup at all, but there is a video on my channel whereabouts I talk about the tennis ball hack and how good I had found it at that time, and still completely believe in it as a good solution to give yourself more comfort on the indoor cycle. When I first put that video out, in the thumbnail, I just naively, and in my inexperience of being a YouTuber, went onto the internet, found a picture of a rocker plate, copied it, pasted it onto the thumbnail, and away I went. And the thumbnail basically said, why would you spend this much money on a rocker plate when you can buy these for a fifth of the cost? Martin saw that and realised that the picture that I'd used was his rocker plate, and he got in touch with me. There was no animosity. It was basically a request. Could you change the picture because I run my own small business and actually you're painting it in a bit of a negative light. To say I was embarrassed and actually slightly annoyed with myself is an understatement. So I immediately changed the thumbnail. Obviously, the last thing that I want to do is to cause any harm to anybody's business. And I thought about it for a bit, responded to him in the chat, but then I sent him an email. And essentially I said, I'm ever so sorry for what happened. Please accept my apologies. And if you are open to it, by way of an apology, if you like, I'd be quite happy to review your rocker plate in the future. But I would be honest about what I thought about it. So, you know, it's entirely up to you. And Martin came up, fitted it, we had a good old chat, he showed me how to use it. Those bits that I showed you before about making, you know, using your body and the bike and leaning against whereabouts you're putting the power down to generate more power, all of that. So he gave me a whole lesson on it. Great guy. And I'm that pleased with it that I've actually bought it. I say I've actually bought it. I've asked him 3 times to send me an invoice and I haven't had one yet. So I really need to chase him up, but I will be spending my own money on this rocker plate. So this video is not sponsored. And yeah, the fact that he had the confidence in his product and made the time to come up after what was, well, it can only be described as a rocky start. We're now talking about maybe meeting up and going for a cycle somewhere. So that's how that's progressed. So I would say tennis balls for £100 gives you more comfort, means that you can enjoy riding indoors more, and that's what it's all about after all. And therefore you can increase your fitness, and by default, I suppose, you'll get stronger and therefore you'll become a more powerful cyclist. So let's have a think about the rocker plate. Earlier this year in 2025, I reached a sort of peak fitness, my lowest rate, peak performance in and around March time. And then spring came, a little bit of outdoor cycling, not as intensive. We had holidays, we had work trips. Basically the wheels fell off. So over the summer, I've put the weight back on. And also I've lost some fitness. So much so that in Zwift, I've gone from a B-class rider down to a C. Bearing all that in mind, I have achieved my best power outputs for 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds and 30 seconds, up to 1 minute since I've had the rocker plate. And I think that tells you a story about power transference through that whole movement, which is very much like riding a bike outdoors. I think you can get more power down on the rocker plate. So I think it actually does give you more power when you're riding, a bit more comfortable, but then it is more expensive. So what's my advice? My advice is, if you can afford it and you want to spend the extra money, then a rocker plate is a great investment. And the one thing I would say about it, it's a bit like the Zwift ride. I've had that now for 10,000 kilometers. I've had it over a year. There's literally no reason to change it. And the rocker plate will be the same, as were the tennis balls, to be fair. Every so often, I think I changed the tennis balls twice while I had it over about a 6 or 8 month period. But the rocker plate will literally last me for years. So when I look at it from that point of view, it's not that expensive. It's a big outlay, I accept that, but over the period of time, if you use it enough, which I have, then it becomes more of an investment in your health and your fitness than this just big cost that's sat in the corner of your garage, let's say, not getting used. So I still stand by my video of about 5 months ago that the tennis ball hack is a brilliant investment for, you know, £100, let's say. But when Martin sends me his invoice, and Martin, I'm looking at you now, then I will be buying the rocker plate off him. So I think that probably tells you all you need to know. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you're interested in the original tennis ball hack video, which has got a little bit more detail about it, then it'll pop up in a moment at the end of this video. I'd like to thank Martin at OmniRocker for being so nice about the whole situation, regardless of the way that we started, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you would like to leave any comments, I'll reply to all of them, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please subscribe, like the video, it all helps and keeps the motivation high. I'll see you on the next one.